Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. We are checking in on some of our preseason predictions, over, under, some bets, and sister cities. Who should you be rooting for? Final schedule watch. Big debates.
That's for Ruiz.
Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball, presented to you by SeatGeek. Jake Storielli, Trevor Plouffe, David Mendelson, some of James O'Brien's pets, and he might be the winner from this episode. We'll see. I guess that's for the people to debate at home and sound off in the comments. Who won the debate?
No one did.
Whose vote got changed last night?
We all lost.
Everyone. I mean, wow. I guess it's going to be one of those eps where we're all over the board a little bit, because I was just about to say, it's mid-September, a couple weeks of baseball. It's September 11th.
That's not how you say September.
It's September. It's September 11th today, which has a massive impact on everyone in this country. Everyone, talking to Jess's mom this morning, she had a story about how crazy Tampa was because they have some national security stuff down there. Growing up in Connecticut, Cali, BBD's NYC, obviously felt it a ton. We, per usual, will be all over the board, but September 11th, always a day of reflection, coming off just a wild debate last night. It's pretty nuts. Obviously, that's not a world I deep dive in, but it's funny just, how much those have changed in a decade. And meanwhile, most importantly for this program, we are coming up on the baseball playoffs. And it's that time. Oh, there's Jimmy O'Brien. It's that time of year. Oh, my God.
Oh, he knows
Trev.
He's doing well.
Oh, my God.
Hey.
I'm doing well.
Speaking
That's great.
of the debate.
Trev, this breakdown, I caught a tipper. It's been a while, so I'm been high. I was up till 1:30, and now I'm
very
recording
happy
it.
for you.
The Phillies, you set that. That's why he threw out Castellanos.
Hello. Breaking
Wow, that's
news.
great stuff right there.
So pumped right now.
Jim, you're doing the best
I
on the
know you are.
over-unders, too.
It's because everyone sucks this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did have the most unders.
By
Right.
one.
Gotta read the room. Everyone stinks. Yeah.
I'm very happy for you, and I
knew
can't
you-
wait for us to take over the league and hold teams hostage.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah,
Side
soon.
business.
Soon.
I don't know if the Yankees play the Rays down the stretch, and I really was but slave to the people, and they need to know.
I love that for you.
Yeah,
Very excited for you.
Castellanos gets hit. He's apologizing after he gets hit. He's like, I had your back, bro. I had your back. And you hit me? So it's pretty weird. Button on the belly button.
People are very excited about this breakdown.
Don't do that.
Above and below the belly button.
People are going to clip that.
Oh.
All right, love you guys.
Used to. All
See
right.
ya.
Checking in, Edwin Uceta update.
Yeah, sorry, Edwin.
Ooh.
Or actually, you're welcome.
And Jimmy just mentioned, little ad before the ad, Forgotten Rotten versus Baggage Sunday night, JM Warehouse, floorball. Our best tournament production we've put on. Wow, I mentioned
So good.
I mentioned all over the place. I've got floorball. We've got Edwin Uceta tipping. We've got over-unders. We've got sister cities. I'm excited to get into it. The debate, and Trev, might as well put a little more fuel on the fire with hymns. If you need a little more fuel on your fire, your sex life is important, but your schedule is busy. You don't have time to go to the doctor's office, get treated for your ED. Hims is changing men's health care by providing access to affordable and discreet sexual health questions. They've got mints. They've got everything is online. No uncomfortable doctor visits. They got the brand name treatments like Viagra or generic alternatives for 95% cheaper. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/talkin. That's hims, HIMS.com/talkin for your personalized ED treatment options. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved or verified or safety effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with healthcare provider who will determine appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details, important safety information. Subscription required. Prices vary based on product and subscription plan.
Jake, end the stigma.
I'm trying to.
End the stigma.
Not a lot of men's health discussions last night on the debate.
You don't want some, what's up with that? You don't want some floppy thing,
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to knock on it.
Speaking of knock on it, Trev, I want to start with the over-unders because that's more of the teams. That brings everyone to the party. And some teams that haven't been at the party in a little bit. Our fun conversations, our Colorado Rockies. For all our Rockies hives still tuning into Talkin' Baseball, subscribe if you haven't. If you're still here after watching this. Although Michael Toglia, Brenton Doyle, is something happening in the Rockies?
I don't think there's a G. I know there's a G in Tolia, but I don't think you say it.
I don't. Yeah,
I don't think it's
my Long Island
like
showing.
Toga. Yeah.
We do our over-unders before the year. We figured, hey, if we're here, we might as well check in on our prop bets episode, which has become one of our more popular of the year. And then, like I said, sister cities, because there's some fun schedule stuff that's going to dictate, these over-unders and, like, the final playoffs. Like, the AL wildcard is back in reach and some other things. Trev, as I mentioned, might be a big Jom episode. It already has been. He is currently leading the over-unders at 15 out of 30. Not an impressive look for us. You have 14. You're coming in hot on this because you are the 3-time defending over-under champ. You have a little bit of hope. And someone's got to be in last. We'll get to that. I usually like starting... Or, Trev, do you want to do with the all correct, all incorrect, or lone wolf?
It's always difficult to navigate this sheet. I do want to say what Jimmy said. It was correct. He's like, there's more bad teams than good teams this year. And I think that's right. And he ended up picking one more under than we did. You and I did 18 overs, 12 unders. Jimmy did 17 overs, 13 unders.
He did one more. I mean,
he's winning by one.
Right. I think let's highlight it. Let's make it a Jimmy app because the lone wolf, and this is where, we pound our chest. You and I both have two lone wolves, your Astros and Blue Jays that you had the under on both of those. My Pirates and Rangers that I had the under on all of those. And Jim, the John Boy, Edwin Ucetta's John Boy, he had the under on the White Sox, the Reds, the Halos, the Twins, who are a potential flip-flop. They are one of the close teams on this list. They are tracking right below their 86.5. So that would be a flip for you and him that could get you back on top. And then Jimmy had the over on the New York Metropolitans, which how do you like that? So Jimmy has 5 lone wolf solo correct picks, which in our history of doing this, I don't remember anything that significant.
I think we got to start with like the biggest miss for us. And we've talked about this before on the program. The Kansas City Royals had a 73.5 over under. And we all took the under because we said, man, like this is a team coming off almost 100 loss season, lost 97 games the year before, if I'm not mistaken. And to improve by that many games would be one of the best improvements in the history of the sport. And they made some off-season acquisitions, but I think that we were thinking, okay, like they're pretty good. Like they're going to be competitive, but I don't know if they're going to get to where they're going to get to, and maybe they end up trading some of these guys. And the thought process, I think, was okay. We just didn't foresee Bobby Witt Jr. being the best player in baseball, and Vinny and Sal Perez, leading the league and hitting with runners in scoring position. And we definitely didn't see that starting pitching performing the way they did. I mean, the names that they have, the names they've been going through this year, they're not low 3 names that you're really accustomed to, but here is Brady Singer, here's Michael Wacha, and obviously Seth Lugo. We knew Cole Reagans would be good, but they've overperformed in absolutely every single facet of the game. And now the Royals are on pace to win 88.8 games. They're already 80-66, which is crushing their line, and we all got it wrong.
Yeah, the Royals had tracked all season. They continue to track them. The Oakland A's have already surpassed their win total. That's one of those Vegas always seems to know. 56.5 was their
That was
over-under.
mean of us to pick the under there. We were just thinking, what a mess, the stadium, all these things going on.
What they were coming off of. I mean, if you had given us that line for the White Sox, we would have went over, because you and I went over 63.5, and they've put together one of the worst seasons we've ever seen. So, the Guard Dogs and the Brewers obviously are over. They were projected for 76.5 and 78.5. So those are the teams that are full-blown clear.
Well, the Padres as well.
The Padres as well, yes.
And that's a tough look for us, but there is a caveat.
That's my only asterisk. Dylan Cease.
Yes. This was before they acquired Dylan Cease.
When
we did not foresee them doing that, and then also adding multiple arms at the trade deadline. This team is
rise at the end of April.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we still have to wear that one.
I think this team is. If I'm picking like a dark horse to win the World Series, it's the San Diego Padres.
I don't know how dark that horse is. You know?
Ooh, it's gray. What's your
Gandalf.
favorite color horse? Because that's important for people to know.
I think black, man. I think like when you see a big old powerful like stallion, like you can, like the muscles are popping, and it's just like, oh shoot, that's the guy. I think that's my.
I bet you like that.
What about you?
I'm gonna go with the white horse.
I bet you like that.
Like Shadowfax. Like not even white, almost translucent, just glowing out in the field.
Translucent horse would be disgusting. I don't want to see their innards.
Well, you don't see the innards either, but everything is translucent.
What a good word. How come every kid paid attention that day in science class? Wait,
translucent?
Translucent, transparent. Isn't there another one? Translucent was just like a sick word. It's like, okay, you can kind of see through it. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Ghost?
Opaque. Another word.
Everyone paid attention that day.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of paying attention, let's hype ourselves up a little bit, because I think these are pretty much locks, and it's our all correct crew. We have 6 teams. The Arizona Diamondbacks that were treading water for the first couple months of the season. I think even the last time we checked in was right before they get hot. We all had their over at 83.5. They're going to get there. The Detroit Tigers are currently on pace. They are definitely a team that has flipped recently. Their over-under was 80.5. They are currently 74 and 71. So if they get to the finish line 7 and 10 or better, which they've been pacing that way, the Detroit Tigers will be on pace for a 500 season. The Marlins, we all had the under. They're not even going to come close. That was one of our, like, everyone tilted their head. Milwaukee, we were all in on. We all tilted our head. Why would you have Milwaukee below 500? Insane.
Yeah, they had traded Corbin Burns, so
Yeah.
okay.
But it was...
I believe the line actually went down from that as well.
Yeah. Like, it was no respect from the sports books for the Brewers organization. And then overs on the Yankees and the Phillies, as they have both. The Phillies have had a incredible regular season, pretty much start to finish. They had one hiccup. Same with the Yankees. That hey, snaps for us on that. For all of us to lock it in the same bet, we all kind of start looking at each other like, this is probably going to be wrong, right? That's just not how this works. If we all think that, that's not how this works.
Okay, hold on one second. Because this is we're going off a sheet here. We should post a sheet somewhere so people can follow along with this. I think that'd be awesome to see. But if we're gonna toot our horn about all correct, you got to mention the all incorrect.
Well, that's kind of what's left at this point.
Because we got 6 all correct. Yeah, we're doing great. Pat yourself on the back. You want a spanking, Jake?
Yeah.
I know you do. 8 incorrect. All of us picking the same team. Boston is number 1. We had them under 80.5. John Boy admitted that he was biased, but he also believes it. This actually went down to 77.5. And I think that probably would have changed what we thought. This was after the Lucas Giolito news. So we just didn't think it was there. The pitching staff carried them at the beginning of the year, which was a surprise for anybody that follows the game. That's fallen kind of completely off the cliff, and then the offense started to do it. Jaron Duran's been a monster. Wilyer Abreu has shown up, and obviously Devers has done what he's done, but that was all incorrect for us. The Chicago Cubs, we had the over at 84.5, and they are not tracking there. They could
Trev,
get there.
The two teams you just mentioned, I think in a very biased way, Red Sox fans and Cubs fans, I'm not the highest on their pecking order, but these are the two that can flip the easiest. The Red Sox are currently on pace for 81 wins. So their over's 80.5. So they are going to come down to the finish line. And the Chicago Cubs, 84.5, which is looking like a really good line for them, as they're on pace for 84. So, and they've been playing a better brand of baseball with the easier schedule. So, those two can go either way.
Then we mentioned Kansas City, we mentioned Oakland, we mentioned San Diego. The other three that we really haven't gotten into, San Francisco, we all were in agreement. And is that even a word, agreement, or is it agreement? Ooh. I don't know. Who cares? We took the over at 81.5. We said overs if they get Snell or Monty. They got Snell, obviously. They're tracking at 79.3 for their pace. Hey. The over-under's at 81.5.
Hey.
Okay, Giants.
Finish, Giants.
Hey, Logan
Finish.
Webb and Blake Snell, get off of Pebble Beach and get in the bullpen.
You don't believe that.
That's what people say. I don't believe that.
You don't believe that.
DM'd Logan Webb and told him about my 83 I shot there. He didn't even read it. So
God. Foul. That's so foul.
The Cardinals, we took the over at 84.5 wins. We said it's a kiss of death. Yeah. They're tracking at 81 wins. So they, if playing good ball, could get there.
I don't.
And then did we talk about Tampa? We all took the over 84.5. That was our double lock. We talked about the Rays' devil magic. It really hasn't happened for them yet. It's going to be very tough for them to hit the over. What does it say? Is it 14-3 they'd have to go?
Yeah, I think Rays and Blue Jays, for me, almost every year, I think I'm going over just as like, hey, if they're good, I'll get a point here and my regular life will stink a little bit more. But I'm not going to hide behind
you love to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Trev, let's kind of finish off with the Taste Yourself segment. Your Astros and Blue Jays are your two lone wolfers.
I don't really know why I took the under on the Astros. I think I was looking at all the overs that I had, and I was like, okay, I could see them 92.5 wins. I could see them. The Rangers just won the World Series. The Mariners have their pitching staff. We were hoping that Julio Rodriguez would show up and they'd find some offense somewhere. I thought the Angels would probably be a little bit better than they were. So I was counting on the AL West, just giving them a little bit more of a challenge, which they did essentially. The Mariners were in first place until June 18th, and that went down. Or they're up at 10 games on June 18th. Then they haven't led in quite some time. So my thought process, I think it says next to it, I think they were 91 to 92 wins, so a half game under. I thought they'd be right at that line. I chose the under. I don't think this is some crazy I knew what was going to happen pick. I think it was more of on the lines of I needed an under. So I'm not going to pat myself on the back too hard for that one.
Good. What about your Jays?
Transparency, people.
Translucency. Yeah, I guess everyone kind of knows the story of the Blue Jays at this point. Kind of one of the more disappointing teams of this season. And they did have injuries, like Bichette has not had a Bichette year, and the whole pitching staff kind of let me down.
Hey, but they have the best defense in the league, so that good for them.
Something like that. My two lone wolfers were Pittsburgh and Texas. I'm a World Series hangover man. 89.5 for the Texas Rangers. They are looking like they're going to be under 500. And then I guess the feather in my cap I'm more proud about. I got excited about the Pirates before the season. 72.5 was their over-under. I was hopeful for Skeens. If I went back and listened, I was a little more excited for their offense. Although, how about Kutch hitting 20 again, Trev? What's that about?
Love that.
What?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Here's another 20 burger for you.
Yeah.
People wrote Kutch off like 3 years ago. Whoops.
He wasn't getting like the consistent playing time. I think that has something to do with it. But I do find it funny for us that anytime we have a lone wolf, we start to think, okay, how do I salvage this with the response if it doesn't go my way? Pirates, you said I'm fading myself and ready to be mad in September. Yep. For the Blue Jays, I said I think it's over, but the line is a trap. Like, we always have the safeguards on the lone wolves. I think we need to be more confident next year. And if we pick something that's a lone wolf, you just ride with it.
We'll probably we'll get a graphic with our final standings as they come through. Sorry, Cubs, Red Sox. I mean, that's all three of us rooting against you.
Can we put this sheet out there, like a link to the sheet, and then maybe if one of our statistically inclined listeners wants to go out and find 1 unit placed on each of our bets, would it be profitable or not profitable? Because some of these might have been plus, although I guess none of them would be plus. It'd all be minus 110, minus 105. Yeah.
Talk to your Stanford.
So we're all
over 500.
We're all gonna lose.
It's looking like it on the over/under.
You'd have to go what, like 18 of 30?
I think 17 would
to get rid of the juice.
You would turn a profit.
Which that's been you the past couple years, Trev, but it's not looking not looking so juicy. No, it is looking juicy. Roan, R-H-O-N-E. It's been a summer of Roan. Some people, if you know, you know. Men's closets were waiting for a radical reinvention, and Roan stepped in for the challenge. Their commuter collection, the most comfortable, breathable, and truly versatile set of products known to man head to toe. Pants, dress shirts, Q-zips, polos, blazers, 4-way stretch fabric is breathable, flexible, everywhere from your commute to the 19th hole. Ooh, I might have to check my Roan. We've got an event next week, Trev. The upfront. I might have to bust out.
Pants are required. Nice. Thank goodness.
Pants are required. My nightmare. But the commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to Roan, RHONE.com/baseball. Use promo code baseball, 20% off your entire order. 20% off, RHONE.com/baseball, code baseball. There's a link in the description. This Roan stuff is HOTT, hot to go,
It does look good. And you know what? I like the logo.
Okay.
Nice logo.
Yeah.
Okay. Trev, let's put a little bit of a bow on the gambling stuff because we also do our prop bets, and we figured I always get excited for schedule watching Sister Cities, but while we're here, and I think we could keep this a little tighter. We do our prop bet episode before the season. It is one of our most popular eps to go with the team profile and projections. And we JMified it. We always make a game out of something. That's an O'Brien family trait. Big Jimmy ep today. And this year we did over, under, lock, sprinkle. We've done that the past couple years because we did, I don't want to say gamify the system, but unders, and I don't know, for you at home, I'm not saying this is a way to make easy money, but with injuries and everything and poor performance, the unders have a better chance of hitting. I know that sounds a little sad, but it's just how the game works. And I think one year we all rolled up with like 3 unders, and we're like, okay, this is sad. Like this
isn't a fun game.
Let's root for guys too. Trev, I don't. For the YouTube people, That's not a proud face by you. I'll let you talk a little bit if you want. He's got the sheet up there too, so everyone's getting undressed.
So my first over was Bobby Miller, starting pitcher for the Dodgers. I had him over 143 and a half strikeouts. That's coming off a year where he had 119 through 22 starts. And my thought process was, I don't really love it now that I'm like looking back at this. Because one injury or something like that would derail a strikeout number like that. But I was very confident in the fact that this guy was going to establish himself near the top of the Dodgers rotation. I mean, he was 23 years old, a 3.76 in those 22 games started last year. He looked the part very, very much so. And it was my belief that he was just going to go out and surpass what he had done the year before. Like he'd gotten his feet wet. Like it didn't happen, people. He's been, and I said this before the show, and he's been Alek Manoah-esque.
Oh,
as far as like the fall off has been pretty drastic, to say the least. 11 games started, a 7.79, a 1.6 WHIP, 4.5 walks per 9, which is just not going to get it done. His FIP is sitting at a 6.8. You want WAR, it's not good either, people. So that one was a miss by me. He just has not had a good year. The Dodgers have struggled, to find starting pitching, all year long, whether it be injuries or poor performance like this. So that was a miss for me. Ellie De La Cruz has already surpassed this. He had 127 and a half hits. Thank you. I think he's at 144 right now.
Breakout year. You were on it.
I like that. Kyle Schwarber, under 96 and a half runs driven in. I had him at leadoff, and I'm like, hey, is he going to really get close to 100 runs driven? I think he's only done it once or something prior to this year. I think that was my thought process. He's sitting at 95 right now, so it looks like Schwarber's going to get there. He's a baller. Never bet against Kyle Schwarber. Like that's just a rule that you should have in your book.
When you brought that one to the table, I remember all of us being like, Trev, like Schwarber?
Well, again,
I know
it
can
really
always
is.
happen.
I know the betting
One injury
logic.
away.
Yeah. It's true.
One injury away. It's a lot of runs driven in for a leadoff hitter, but Kyle Schwarber is that guy. He also stole my walk-up song. Nobody talks about that.
Nobody talks.
It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. This is the one I'm most embarrassed of.
Yeah.
Esteury Ruiz, over 49 and a half steals. The guy stole 67 bases in 2023. I said, look, he's one of the only productive players that the A's had in 2023. Like, he's going to play. Mark Kotsay is going to let this guy loose. We know that stolen bases are quote unquote easier to come by than ever with the disengagement rule that's been put in place. That's not the case. He's had, like, how many games did he play this year? Not a lot. 55 at bats. I think he had 5 steals. He's been in the minor leagues most of the year. So my lock is just absolutely in shambles. Can't believe it. And then I sprinkled Bob Melvin for manager of the year in the NL, and that's clearly going to Pat Murphy. So I did very, very poor. We'll just call it 1 out of 4, and the sprinkle was also wrong.
Yeah, I think I'll get ahead of the sprinkle, because for those that don't live in the world, there's some bets that are highly unlikely to hit. So we call it the sprinkle, because, you could bet $5 and win 1,000 if a crazy bet hits. All of our sprinkles are off. You went Bob Melvin, NL Manager of the Year, which I kind of like that one. Jimmy went, he threw 2 sprinkles out there. Mookie leading the league in hits. He got her Astros' longest win streak, which your Twins actually have this year.
There's still time for that one, I guess.
The 2 I threw out were Burns, MLB wins leader. And then my deep cut was Spencer Torkelson at plus 7,000 to lead the league in homers.
That was deep.
That was a deep cut.
That's like slash an artery deep.
Him and Esteury kind of went back.
At least my guy led the league in stolen bases the year before.
BBD threw out a Grayson Rodriguez AL Cy Young. So none of our sprinklers are going to get close this year, and that's okay. That's why it's a sprinkle. Yeah, Trev, Ruiz, would love to know what happened. He didn't play a lot of minor league games, too. He must have got banged up down there.
Yeah, did well in those minor league games, but
it was like 12 games.
Yeah.
Really tough to predict baseball.
Weird to
hear. I'll pair myself up with John Boy, because if people do remember this episode, it was almost comical. I think I was going before Jimmy, and I walked through like two of his exact bets, and one that I did bet, his over, was Springer, more home runs than Correa at minus 120. That one's looking good because Springer, after a slow first half, found his power stroke. And Correa's just been out after he was amazing, Trev. They got to get him back.
Is that close?
It was, and I think Springer has essentially ended it. Springer is at 19 homers, and Correa, I think, is at 13. Yeah. So 6
Correa's
homers.
Coming back. Hey,
6 homer. Hey, go Twins, go, Trev. But
yeah, we need that in the worst way.
That was a scary one for a while. Looks like it's going to be signed, sealed, delivered. 2 unders for Jimmer, and I think we're both on this one. Ronald Cunha under 53.5 stolen bases. Just kind of like almost World Series effect. You won the MVP. You stole so many bases. I don't think anyone pictured it going down like that, but Ronnie's hasn't been a part of this season. And then he said there's a note in there he threw in O'Neal Cruz under. Wow. He liked O'Neal Cruz under 72.5 RBI. Big O'Neal Cruz is at 71. So that one's probably coming off the board. Where are we at with O'Neal Cruz? His numbers are nicer than I thought as I opened his page.
Yeah, he's a great all-around player. They switched him to center field. That's going to be interesting to see how that affects his career. What I said before the season, Chris Rose posed this question. He goes, who's going to have the better year of the Cruzes?
Right.
Very tall shortstops with all the tools in the world. I said, I think maybe O'Neal Cruz will be better this year, but in the long run, I think Ellie is just the better player. I thought Ellie is still young, but Ellie's taken the next step quicker than I thought he would. But O'Neal's a player, man.
Hey, man, O'Neal Cruz is now 788 OPS, 19 homers. He's going to be 20-20, and I think more importantly, he's going to have played a full season, which that was one of the bigger question marks. And I think that's what Jimmy was kind of leaning into, like we talked about with the unders.
It's a poor April, and we always kind of like being able to identify that. Just been really solid.
Maul's righties. He still struggles with lefties, so that'll be part of the story for next year, along with the outfield situation. I feel a little bad on this one. Jimmy got the lock of Rays over 84.5 wins. This was a little Brewers theory. This is a little Rays theory. They still have a little chance. I think it had to be like a 13-4 to the finish line, which, hey, baseball. And I did bet good American money on that one, so I'm probably gonna feel the actual loss on that lock. And I mentioned his sprinkles, Mookie and the Astros. For myself, we've got a little bit of fight. Freddie Freeman was my over on hits. I did well with the Bo Bichette hits because these guys just hit. Freddie missed a little bit of time, and that's the difference when you're that good of a player. And his batting average is a little lower than you'd think for Frederick this year. Over 176.5 hits. He's not going to get there. I think he's at 131. Randy Arozarena, 25.5 stolen bases for my under. He's going to be close. I think he's at 19 right now. 1 or 2 big games. That gets a lot closer. So let's see if that goes. I locked in the Cubs to miss the playoffs. That one's looking okay. It's looking
good.
I can't lock it in. And then, like I mentioned, my sprinkles are misses. To wrap it up, BBD, you've got an anxious. Well, your lock is locked, which is kind of unreal.
Lock feels good
because I thought that was a sucker bet. I even said that.
Yeah.
Because I lost a sucker bet of that degree last year.
I said it after that. I don't feel good about this because I think it spells bad news for our Yanks. But
Yanks, Philly, Houston to make playoffs plus money, plus 160, and I think That'll cash soon.
I think we're about to get to clinching season on them. Astros gave a scare for a while on that bet, but
And
that
then
was a happiness hedge.
your boy Mike Trout under 93.5 RBI. The Mike Trout injury under bets.
Unfortunately, that's just
I know.
reliable.
That's crazy, Trev. Where are you at with Trouty? Just trade him to Philly and let's figure it out, or what?
I want to see the guy healthy.
Yeah.
I want to see him in the playoffs, and I don't know. Those things just haven't really happened over the last couple of years. Playoffs, obviously, we know about that. I don't know, man. He's got a new golf course opening up. I know guys that have,
It's nice.
invested in that. He didn't ask me.
I've been near him on a golf course.
That's right.
Yeah.
Crazy couple years.
A video of him hitting the ball at Top Golf is still A+, so
Hey,
he got that working for him.
Trout, you're the best ever, but your team always stinks. Oh, wait. Now we've got this guy that hits and pitches, so he's the best, I guess, but your team still stinks. Okay, now he's gone. The team's even worse, and you've been injured. Tough couple years for Trouty. Come back with vengeance.
I like that. Fire him up.
Fire him up.
You hear that, Trout? Jake doesn't think you're good at baseball anymore. You hear that?
I think he needs a change of scenery. I think a lot of people think that. And now, BBD, you've got 2 over homer totals that are going to come down
Too sweaty
to the final day of the season, if you'd like to tee those up.
Yeah, I mean, Corbin Carroll, his over-under was 23.5.
He's
I believe
coming.
24 was what he hit last year, or 25. Either way, he was over that number last year, and I expected a next step. He had a very slow start to this season. The numbers are just starting to get above average. 14 homers in the second half, so he's coming for it. But he needs 5 more with about 3 weeks ago. It's more than possible. But it's a sweater, and Bryce is in a similar spot. I think also needs 5 more, and he has not been homering for the last month or so. I think 2 in August. So both those guys could hit 5 homers in 1 week, and I'm in a good spot this year. But
Man, the Harper homer drought. I know it's become a thing, obviously, but 28 games now. He was, August 9th. He was kind of, if anyone was going to catch Shohei for MVP, it was him. And he hit the brakes, and it's weird, like his other numbers are good. He's in his homer drought, Trev. 337 batting average, 410 on base, and 882 OPS. Ball just ain't left a yard.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
What's that about?
He had one. He had one close. I think fan interference took one away from him the other night. So there's a little bit of that going on. That's just scary for people that are facing the Phillies in the postseason. That's what I think.
Ooh, yeah, like it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Floodgates.
Man,
You know all about that.
Bobby Miller, Trev. You go through a long season and you don't see a guy's name a lot, and you're like, okay, I know Bobby's been banged up. I didn't know when he was out on the field it looked like that.
It's been, Walker Buehler's looked the same way, man. Just hasn't looked the same. And obviously he's coming off an injury and maybe needs to get a little rust off there. But Bobby, it's been clearly still has arm talent, but just, I don't know, man. Hasn't been there this year for him. It's tough to watch when that happens. You get to the big leagues, you have initial success, you think it's going to last forever, and then all of a sudden the game just humbles you, man. Like humbles you.
I understand what you're saying with it's tough to watch, but yet this happens to so many players. Like this is the majority of the story. And that
Yes.
Bobby Miller, he's with the right org. He's young. Like we can bounce back from that, and he will. Bobby Miller. Hey, if you are fascinated by any and all of that, head over to the DraftKings Sportsbook. You could still get in on the baseball action, or it is footy season, and the number one place to bet touchdowns is the DraftKings Sportsbook. TDs, tutties, take it to the house. A $5 bet will instantly get you $250 in bonus bets, plus 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Wow. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code Talkin and bet just $5 on any wager. Get $250 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code Talkin only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Trev, we we just kind of looked back a little bit. It's time to look forward. And also, I've just been talking too damn much, so I don't know if you want to get into schedule watch 2024 as we leak into, God, 2.5 weeks? September 11th, the season ends on the 28th?
27th, I thought it was.
Minus 11. Carry that math. That's
1, 2.5.
19?
Carry the math.
Jesus.
There's a lot of good stuff coming up that we've kind of been hinting at it. The Braves Mets series is going to be awesome. I know we're talking who should you root for, like spoilers, but there still are some really good series left between teams, chasing each other, which I think is kind of the more fun aspect of this. I believe right now, Mets and Braves 5-5 against each other, locked up for the last wild card spot in the NL. They play each other the second to last series of the year. What's the SAT word for that, Jake? Ready, go.
SAT word.
Penultimate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It is. And that'll largely decide what's going to go on with the last NL wild card, which I think is awesome. I wish it was the last series of the year.
Right.
Don't know why that happened. I think the Mets also go to Milwaukee directly after that, which is, we'll see what Milwaukee's doing at that point. Are they still going to be jockeying for, a bye? I don't think they're close enough to really get that. As I'm looking at the standings right now, I am the standings guy. They're like 3 games behind the Dodgers right now, 2.5 games. So yeah, there's still a possibility that Milwaukee could be going full throttle there, which would be interesting for the Mets. That's my hot take-ish right now. Chris Rose always asks me the hot take questions. That's what we do. I'm basically Mad Dog Russo. He asked me between those 4 teams, Padres, Arizona, Atlanta, and the Mets, they're only separated by 2.5 games, or 4.5, I guess. Yeah. Who's the odd man out? And I said, just by looking at the schedule, I think it might be the Mets, because they're playing the Phillies 7 more times. Then they have that series against the Braves. Then they play against Milwaukee. I think it might catch up to them. They really could go either way. It's really like, I guess I can't say that. I was going to say that's really like the most interesting race. Now the AL wild card has kind of gotten back into it. My Twins have just been absolutely abysmal over the last 20 games. I think they're 4-16, something like that. Something bad. Finally, my guy Kyle Farmer came back and helped them beat the Angels last night.
Yeah.
And we're like really patting ourselves on the back for that. Detroit within 3, and Boston and Seattle within 4. It would not surprise me if the Twins didn't make the postseason.
We've heard it in your voice the past month or so, Trev, even before this tough 20-game stretch. And I think the other thing that I just want to put out before we dive in a little further, those last series, you don't get punt games anymore, because with the break, teams are lining up their starters, but if you're one of the best teams, if you're one of the top 2 teams, you still pitch through the end of the regular season, because that lines you up for the next series. Even the wild card teams, you're going to miss a day or two that, I remember a lot of the games last year, even that final game, a lot of teams use it as the last throw day for their bullpen. So, you might see the team's 5 best relievers in the final 5 innings just to get them a throw day. So it's not I looked at a lot of these, and, the Braves finish with the Royals, and I don't know, are they going to be competing for the wild card? They might not be pitching their 1, but they have 4 guys in their rotation anyways. Even if the Royals lock something in, it's not like you're going to get 3 easy Royal games.
No, I don't mean that, but they won't. Back-to-back games with the back end of the bullpen will not happen.
True.
It just will not happen. Those are the things that I'm looking at. Extended pitch counts, if a guy's going off, are not going to happen. They're going to have a set pitch count for their starters at 70 pitches. Like I said, Devin Williams if the Brewers have everything locked
Right.
up, will not pitch 2 days in a row. Like that's kind of what I'm alluding to. Possibly some lineup stuff as well. Get your guys off their feet. We'll see. I don't know. But there are, I mean, this is like, maybe not yet. I'm not ready to say this is my favorite part of the season yet. I think it's like the last 10 days. I'm not even going to go 2 weeks, like 10 days when the playoff picture is really, really clear. And then it's a sprint. It's so much fun, Jake.
Well,
so much fun. And I'm glad that we still have decent races to go on.
Well, that's what, when you see the Braves and Mets schedule on paper, like Mets have 2 Phillies series, Braves and Brewers, like that is a slog. For the Braves, they have a 4-game Dodgers at Dodgers. So Mets fans are going to be Dodgers fans this weekend, which that's fun.
Yep.
And then it's Mets Royals. So in a way, the Mets, if they can handle their business there, and then the Royals can be who the Royals are, the Mets are going to be in this thing, which is kind of crazy to think about. I think the other one that jumped off the map for me, Trev, the AL West. Like we've drank the Houston Kool-Aid, best record since April 22nd or whatever it is, all of that, and they're the Houston Astros, who they're about to finish up 2 games with the A's, and then the Angels, and then the Angels again. I guess what jumped off to me, a Mariners team that we've written off, and Dan Wilson's Mariners now, they finish with 3 at Houston and 3 versus the A's. So if the Mariners can keep it within 4 or 3 going into that final week, they have a chance. And it's like
they definitely have a chance.
Like it's what the Mariners are supposed to be built on. Hey, we've got 6 games here. You're going to get a great starting pitcher every day. Like, let's actually do this. And I don't know, I guess I'd mentally written that out.
I agree. I feel like it's when we're thinking about this race, if it's just in a vacuum and we got Men in Blacked and you don't remember anything that happened this season, sure, it would seem like clearly there's a chance that the Mariners have against the Astros, but that's not the case. I have not gotten Men in Blacked. I wore the sunglasses, so I remember the past. Right?
Yep.
They had a 10-game lead and choked it. That's what I remember. And that's why we think about it the way we think about it. The A's, by the way, obviously not a pushover this year. They've had one of the better records since the All-Star break. Our guy Lawrence Butler is like the best player in all of baseball. Esteury Ruiz not on the team. I think that one's over for me. I know what you're saying. I know that statistically they're going to have a chance, and they do even lead the season series on the Astros, right? Which is big because that means they will have the tiebreaker if they win one more game. I believe it is. Yeah, one more game.
And let's see if your Guardians end up in a race.
I would love that. Make me wrong. Like that would be awesome. I want chaos.
Let's get nuts.
Chaos is a ladder.
If your Guardians are in the mix, that's where Houston finishes. So if there'll be AL Central watching, that could get interesting. Those 2 Angels series though with Houston, you'd like to think they're going to handle their business, but I guess in my head the door was fully shut, and it's not. The Astros are on pace for like 86, 87 wins. Mariners with 1 hot streak, they could find it. Trev, I want to set up a pair of cities, and one of them's my city. New York Yankees.
New Britain, Connecticut? Oh.
Hard-hitting New Britain. New York Yankees are trying to win the division over the Baltimore Orioles. They have a penultimate series. I had stopped listening to you. I do know that word. That 3 games at Yankee Stadium, and let's see if that decides it for Orioles-Yankees. Orioles are 6-4 against them this season. What may be more impactful, the Orioles have 6 games against your Detroit Tigers, the young, punchy Tigres, who, if you do the numbers over the last month, have been playing better than the Orioles. a Tigers team that has a little bit of hope for that wild card. 6 games against the Orioles that could dictate whether the Orioles are the AL East champs or the wild card, or whether Detroit actually has a shot to make the dance. Whoa.
They definitely have a shot. There's no doubt about it. You look at the 2 schedules in between the Twins, that's the team that they are chasing for that last wild card spot, as you mentioned. The Twins can't beat the Angels. They're, tied in the series right now. Another one to go today. The Reds kind of never know with them. They could show up and just be really good or really bad.
Right.
And then it's the Guardians, who they have not played well against at all. 2-7 on the year. The Red Sox, they are 2-1 against them, but again, I think they're a pretty dang good team, and they're still in the wild card hunt. They could close the gap with only 4 games back of the Twins. Marlins, they should win that, and then the Orioles, who are obviously a very good team. It's scary for the Twins, man. Like I know this is not a Twins show.
It is.
I do a Twins show. If you want to go check it out,
It is.
What's the Score North Twin show?
Skull.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on. There's a battle between it seems like there's a battle between Rocco and Royce, which is like, what? There's Rocco called the team unprofessional,
Nice.
which is an interesting choice of words. And, I don't know if that's great at this time of the year to call them that. Maybe they needed it. I don't know. The Tigers could come and steal this thing. That would be the craziest turnaround we've seen in quite some time if the Tigers were able to come, trade Jack Flaherty away. I know that they got their starting shortstop in that deal. I understand that. But the way they've been able to piece together their pitching staff here at the end of the year is kind of crazy. They've been going multiple bullpen games. Their pitching has actually been really good since getting rid of Jack Flaherty. There's been more of a youth movement. Some of the guys coming off the IL, and then some of the guys just, coming up because at one point they thought they were kind of out of it. Then all of a sudden they go on this run, and here they are. That's kind of what dreams are made of. If you're a young player, you get an opportunity, and all of a sudden you win so much that you're back in the playoff race, and you might sneak in. You got to be stoked if you're a Tigers fan right now.
Man, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat, and 2 of those teams in the Central, your Tigers fighting for life. They are a bunch of kids. They 2 rookie infielders on the same day, and that was our debut infielders to go with Colt Keith and Torkelson back. They went all youth. Where it's funny, Kansas City right before August 31st brought in Tommy Pham, who's putting the team on his back, along with some other veterans. Obviously. Did you hear why St. Louis let him go?
I did not.
He didn't like platooning.
Isn't that what he's kind of going to have to do?
Tommy was just like, Tommy Pham plays every day. And I think the Cardinals are like, well, we didn't plan on that, so you're out. And now he's batting leadoff for the Kansas City Royals. God.
Dude, Paul DeJong is the everyday third baseman of the Kansas City Royals. And he's
Yuli
doing great.
Gurriel.
I love that. That's a good one.
Salvi's the young guy on the team again.
That's really funny. Yuli is, 42 years old?
77.
It might be 46.
It might be Julio Franco in a mask. It's insane with that cat.
Kind of similarly.
With that cat, right? There's something there. What's gonna come down to your AL Central? Are the Guardians gonna win it, or are they gonna get reeled in?
They are. No, they are, because
Okay.
they really do have a formula to win. You saw it when they played your Yanks. I mean, they just need to hit when they get some runners on. They're not going to crush the ball. It seems like they're a team that has one guy step up every single game and get the big hit with runners in scoring position. And then if they have the lead come the 5th or 6th inning, it's pretty much lights out. Although I believe did Hench just get hurt? Beavers, can you check that out?
Benches and benches.
They have a formula, man. They rely on the back end of their bullpen. Somehow they've gotten great starts out of
shoulder surgery.
He's out. Yeah, I saw that.
12 to 14.
That's tough for them, but they have a formula, man. They're the second best defensive team in baseball with the best bullpen in baseball. So you got to get to them early, essentially, and then just hold on for dear life. I think they will. They have one other team has been in first place. Like the Royals were in first place for what, a day? They've just like ran it, dude.
Yeah.
It's been pretty crazy to see them.
Buckle up for the Red Sox Twins series. 10 days to go in the season. You said 10 days left in the season is your favorite part of the year. The Red Sox in Fenway against those Minnesota Twins. They also have 6 against the Rays and 4 at the Yankees. So the Red Sox, again, they're as of like a week and a half ago, it was at 5 games, and we're like, that's a crazy number. 3 or 4 starts to feel more attainable. Dude, if your Twins keep slipping, maybe it's everyone against the Twins. Oh, the perfect show.
The Guardians have been in the lead in the AL Central since Saturday, April 13th, where they were a half game back. They were tied with Kansas City for 1 day other than that.
Right. That's right, that 4-game series. Twins, Reds, Guardians, Red Sox, Marlins, Orioles. I don't know, Trev.
They got to get Carlos Correa's coming back. He is the answer. Team meetings, not the answer. Calling your team unprofessional, not the answer. Carlos Correa is the answer.
Trev, I think the only thing really left to discuss in the NL West, Padres Snakes, which have been the flip-flop in our simulator for a while. I did think it was interesting putting this down on paper. D-backs with 2 Brew Crew series. There's a Rockies in between that helps you out there. Giants, and then they finish with the Padres. Meanwhile, when I look at that Padres schedule, the one thing that jumps out, I mean, they have the White Sox, which, I guess the D-backs have the Rockies, which is close as you get to the White Sox, although it is a different brand. The Padres, Astros, Giants, Astros, White Sox, Dodgers, D-backs. So I don't know. I was going to say I looked at the Padres schedule, and with that White Sox, I was going to give them a leg up. I don't think I am. I think it's coming down to that last weekend.
It will. They've owned the Dodgers this year, 7-3 against them. What I like is even if they don't catch the Dodgers, I believe it's 4 and 4.5 games back for the Diamondbacks and the Padres right now. Even if they don't catch the Dodgers, and they have a chance, obviously, with a 3-game set against them. But if they don't, still going for that number 1 wild card, they have the last series of the year against the D-backs, and they're tied right now at 5-5. So that's kind of, as just a national baseball fan, like you'd want to see that happen. You'd want to see them basically playing for that playoff spot, tied or close to tied, 3-game set to see who gets to host a wild card series. I think that's really important.
Dude, I think this season is gonna end with at least 5 Padres Diamondbacks games, and it's gonna be funny to see. Are they gonna switch locations? They're gonna be in Arizona for those 3 games. It'd be a hilarious little thing if they just have to stay in Arizona.
Right now it's Milwaukee would be hosting either the Braves or the Mets, and then the Padres would host the D-backs. But again, the D-backs are a half game back of the Padres. Everything can flip.
And dude, think about the dynamics there. Do you go for the win to get home field? Or
line your pitching up because you're going to be in the series? I looked this up. I don't think either team is crazy home road splits. I'll get it up right now. The Padres at home are 40-35, and they're better on the road at 42-29. So 592 winning percentage on the road, 533 at home. So that's not a crazy split. Diamondbacks, on the other hand, let's see. 563 at home, 554 on the road. So it doesn't necessarily matter, but I gotta believe playoffs matter. I know that that history hasn't told us that. So I'm just
Right.
kind of
Right.
talking like an idiot. But I don't know, man. Like you feel like you'd want to play at home, even if statistics don't say it.
Did you ever, final question of the episode, did you ever actually play on a team that it was like, we like playing on the road more than home?
No.
Right?
No.
Like I think
not really. I don't know.
I don't think that's a baseball thing. I think there's a football thing there. Like,
why? If that's like the most crowd involvement
right,
in
but
any sport.
I think you
though.
can I think you can truly feed off that in football. Like I
Can't even hear a play call though.
right, but if you shut down the crowd and they go
That's
silent, which like baseball, you can do that.
You can do
but
that.
You
You
need,
can do that.
You know, you still need to hit a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, not run behind your all-pro left tackle for the first down for 2 yards. Sports, just sports.
Not my Rams. My Rams don't have that problem.
Miss you, Whitworth. Your boy, Vegas Whitworth movie. All right, let's wrap this up. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
I can't wait for the stimulator on Friday.
It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one. We talked about a lot of teams today. We might not talk about them Friday. It's the teams that matter.
Chick sucks.
We'll see you there, though. We're here, man.
That was just a yuck and ball app. Right
Don't
there.
eat my dog. What's that about?
I think I'm going to run for president.
Eating the dogs.
We need you.
I think I'd win.
Get your eyes off of that and managing the Olympic team.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Get
Us,
you in there.
hitting coach.